As we emerge, thankfully, from the COVID-19 pandemic, the one item that is going to be high on the agenda for both investors and regulators is climate change. Boards of directors and business leaders need to be considering right now how climate change is going to impact the business they are responsible for and assess the impact it will have on the business and what risks to the business it will cause. In addition, businesses that are not on top of environmental, social and governance issues will struggle to attract investment and funding, and in some sectors will not be able to comply with their regulatory and reporting obligations. Corporate governance procedures and policies in all organisations need to pivot so that they have these issues at their core, as there cannot be any organisation that does not face risks to its business and operations as a result of climate change. Indeed, the World Economic Forum's Global Risk Report 2021 identifies risks linked to climate change as amongst the most likely and damaging of all risks. Organisations are also going to have to assess how their own operations impact on climate change and identify the measures that they need to take to mitigate that. However, organisations that can conduct their business in all respects in a sustainable and ethical manner while embracing diversity will be able to attract new lines of funding and investment. They will be the businesses that can grasp business opportunities presented by the global response to the climate change crisis that is so badly needed.
Despite the much publicised reference in 2018 by then Taoiseach Leo Varadkar to Ireland being a climate laggard, it is important to note that Ireland is top of the class in at least one respect when it comes to battling climate change. For Ireland is the global leader when it comes to the share of electricity that is generated from onshore wind, with approximately 36% of Ireland's electricity being generated this way in 2020. Furthermore, Ireland does not intend to sit on its laurels, and one of the most prominent features of the government's 2019 Climate Action Plan is a commitment to achieving 70% renewable electricity by 2030. To achieve this target, it is anticipated that current onshore wind energy capacity will need to be doubled over the coming 9 or so years. Were Ireland to hit this 70% target, it would reduce CO2 emissions in the electricity sector by 66%, representing more CO2 savings than any other sector. To the average citizen, this reduction would likely save the Irish economy in the region of €1 billion per annum on imported fossil fuels. Offshore wind projects and ground-mounted solar PV projects will play a part in Ireland's efforts to reach this ambitious target. Whilst these technologies will face specific challenges of their own, they will share at least one common challenge with onshore wind, in that much will hinge on the transmission system operator EirGrid, as it undertakes what EirGrid Chief Executive Mark Foley calls the most radical transformation of the grid since electricity was invented. This transformation envisages up to €2 billion of new electricity pylons, cables, substations and converter stations being installed across the country over the coming decade. The current public consultation, Shaping Our Electricity Future, is therefore one of the most important energy-focused consultations to have been put to the Irish people. Whatever form the grid upgrade plan finally takes, disruptive change, to coin the phrase, will be inevitable, and community engagement and buy-in will be critical. A successful rollout of the final plan should see the electrification of large parts of our economy, including, importantly, heating and transport. The hope and aim of policymakers is that come 2030, Ireland continues to be top of the class for onshore wind penetration, and that by then, we have also added offshore wind and solar PV as burgeoning sources of electricity generation. Together, these technologies should spearhead Ireland's efforts in meeting the ambitious 70% RESI target, a target that is likely to become more challenging as electricity demand surges. Here at ByrneWallace, we look forward to playing our small part in meeting this challenge and fighting climate change as a trusted partner and legal advisor to both developers and funders of a multitude of new renewable electricity generation projects in Ireland.